Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here today. I'm, of course, Gregor Guy.
My name's Casey.
And for your viewing and educational purposes, we will be presenting this week's episode of Banghead History. So, let's go ahead and talk to the review. Casey, what are we going to learn about this week?
Today,
I want to learn about shit.
Today, we're going to learn about the history behind certain dog breeds and why they were created and how they were created. Basically, there's so many dog breeds right now, and mostly it's just because people want to create different kinds of dogs, different looking dogs with different kinds of temperaments. But back in the day, they were made because they were created or bred for specific purposes and uses.
Okay. I mean, that's fair.
And you have a Chesapeake Bay Retriever. Do you know anything about Chesapeake Bay Retrievers?
I know that they love the water.
They love the water. Okay.
And they're also a very, in particular, as I recall, a great hunting dog, even though Cap himself, I don't hunt. It's too cold. Too cold too early in the morning.
So, basically the first evidence of dogs being domesticated was really in the Middle East. There's a place called the Natufian Grave. It's discovered in 12,000 BCE in Ain Malah, Israel. And this grave, there was an old man, and he was buried with a puppy. So that is the first actual evidence. I'm sure, though, but historically, I think that maybe during like caveman and nomadic times, people were traveling, and the wolves would probably follow behind and pick the scraps, and then eventually they would get closer to people, and they would kind of become at least friends to some extent.
It would be like a symbiotic kind of relationship,
right?
I'd say.
So basically, between wolves and man, and then through wolves, they became more and more domesticated and became dogs.
Are you going to adopt a wolf?
I'm not going to adopt a wolf.
Yeah.
I do not have the yard for a wolf, I think.
Agreed.
So the first one we're going to talk about, I think this is the most closely related to the your Chesapeake Bay Retriever, is a laboratory.
Yeah.
So
they're Chesapeake Bay Retriever is basically a Labrador.
Okay. So I didn't know that. So I learned something. It is the number one most popular dog. Don't ask me between the rankings which one's number 2 or 3 or 4, because I don't know the answer to that. I only know specific ones.
I wouldn't even dream of it.
Okay. So they were created in Newfoundland, Canada. They were noted for their loyalty, their ability to speed fish and hunt. The lab's thick tapering tail is often called an otter tail. It's basically a powerful rudder that moves back and forth while the dog swims, and it aids in turning.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, anytime Cap's taken him, swimming.
Right. He's a good swimmer.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And he can sit. Because his tail is always like wagging and shit, So I would almost say that it propels him almost as much as like his arms and legs do. Okay. It's almost like another, propulsion device.
So maybe they're going to be
a propeller. Yeah,
maybe they're going to be the second best swimming dogs. I think the very last dog I have on this list is probably the best. So the second one I have is the Golden Retriever, and that one is the number 3 most popular dog in the world. So that one originated in the Scottish Highlands, and it's a hunting dog, just as well as the Retriever can be a hunting dog. As far as the name Retriever, the dog is retrieving things that you're hunting.
Prey.
Right. So. The dog was made specifically for the climate and the terrain in the Scottish Highlands. So Scottish Highlands are generally a pretty wet place. and the landscape is fairly rugged, and it was bred for ideally living and hunting in those specific conditions. It's also called a yellow retriever, and it is bred with a dog breed that is extinct, and the Tweed Water Spaniel. It also has a mix of Irish Setter and Bloodhound. So it's definitely, all these breeds are mixed together, and then eventually one type. One breed mix of these dogs is basically more successful than the others, and those ones tend to stick around.
Okay, I mean that's fair. They're different than life.
Right.
Let's be honest.
I mean, in life, nature kind of decides
Nature
what's
will
more
win out,
successful
yes.
and what's not.
Exactly.
But in this case, with dog breeds, it's more about what's more useful to the human.
If it's domesticated,
Right. So basically, we're kind of playing God with dog breeds, basically.
there you go. You heard it here first.
Next up, we got the Doberman Pinscher, which is the 17th most popular dog in the world. What do you think of when you think of Doberman Pinschers?
I know they have black coats.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I don't necessarily want to say that they're a more aggressive kind of dog, but I believe that is the reputation they have.
Right, and that is exactly what the man who bred Doberman Pinschers was actually going for.
Oh, okay.
They were created by Louis Doberman. He is, I believe it was German. He's a German, and he was a tax collector. So in the 19th century, when this man was going around trying to collect taxes, it was a very hostile time for tax collectors, let's say.
Yeah. Okay.
So he bred this dog specifically to be very imposing and protective. So this tax guy comes up to your door with 2 Doberman Pinschers and says it's time to give up the loot.
What? You're not paying? Sick 'em.
Yeah. So basically, that is what the Doberman Pinscher was created for.
Fair enough.
They are currently used by military and the police, and they can be used as service dogs, and they can also be used as search and rescue dogs.
Okay.